And that's when you entered Making Your Mind Up, which at the time was the televised contest that chose the UK's entry for Eurovision in 2006. Now, you obviously enter and win that contest with Teenage Life. That year was quite high profile, wasn't it? It took place on prime time, Saturday night TV. There were some quite big names involved in the competition. We're talking the likes of Anthony Costa, Kim Marsh. There was a group called Four Story with Ben from Fats and Small in it. What are your recollections of that competition?
Okay, I have a bit of an inferiority complex, and all these places I just didn't feel worthy. I remember doing some Saturday morning TV with everyone. I was just sat at the back, and the girls from City Chicks, who were beautiful, by the way, they would see. The thing is, okay, when I go like that, I can come across as being very, very, very miserable, but I'm not. It's just that I have this complex about, again, it gets back to my working class roots. I'm just a guy from Edgeley. So it came about because Richard Parks, who was the BBC Simon Cowell, basically contacted Uniting Nations, actually, to see if they would submit something. And Gut Records said no. And I found out about it and I went, fuck off. That ain't happening. Because I'd submitted something in 2002, a track called Land of the Rising Sun, which is on YouTube somewhere. And never got anywhere. So basically, I said to Joe, my manager, send them that Teenage Life. See, I wasn't even, again, going back to the ego thing, I wasn't even bothered about going. I just wanted to go as a writer. I just wanted to be connected to it. Nothing to do with performing. Yeah. And so he sent it, but he sent the one with me on it, the one that I'd written, not the one that Blazing Squad recorded. They went, yeah, we want it. And within 5 days, 2 weeks, whatever it was, I was at a press conference, and that's it. So it happened by pure accident, and it's destiny, because that changed my destiny.
Yeah.
Simple as that. Because since then, I've not been able to have a hit under my own right. I mean, I've had hits, but under pseudonyms.
Yeah.
Because that, let me tell you, my friend, is a poison chalice, and I'd do it again tomorrow. But because I do it for doing it, I don't do it because I want to further my career. I have to say, I was offered every single reality show that you can imagine, including the very big ones where you have to fly very far away. I'm not going to say anything else, or where you're locked in a certain building. All right. I was offered both of them, and I turned them down because that is not what I wanted to do Eurovision for. I wanted to do Eurovision because to compete.
The music.
Well, I'm going to compete at Eurovision.
Yeah.
I knew we were never going to win it, but I thought we might have gone a little bit closer than what we did, but I knew we were never going to win it. Never going to win it.
Why did you know that you weren't going to win?
Because I may know the British public, all right, but the British public are amazing. But the public is the public, and the way people relate. Plus, it's a bit like only Manchester United fans like Manchester United.
Yeah.
You support Scunthorpe. You look at United and think, we've got all that money. It's like whatever. It's the same thing. The way, it's not political. I am not going to sit on this show and go, it's political voting, because it ain't. All right. But we are not liked within that community. Now, if Robbie Williams went, right, if he didn't have a good song, he still would do like the rest of us. That's a fact. That is a fact. All right. But what's happened now is because of the way the world is, and no one can be upset. Certainly in the last 10 years, all we've sent is classic BBC yes men. Can you imagine someone like me today, with my opinions at Eurovision? The BBC will be having fucking heart attacks because don't care who I offend. All right, I don't care, because if I believe in something, I'll have my say. All right, I won't say something just for the sake of it, just to be controversial. But all this, my favorite color's blue, and aren't trees amazing? Fuck off. Get in the real world. I mean, I'm not saying like upset people or be offensive to people for the sake of it, but ruffle a few feathers, show that you care. I mean, Jesus, do you know what? This pains me to say it. I'm not really a betting man, but I took a bet with a Eurovision fan over where we would be this year. And I said we would be last, and I earned some money, which I gave to the Children's Wish Foundation, the charity. So, because it's so fucking obvious. And do you know why, Matt? Because we don't want to win it. I'm going to tell you that right now, because I know I'm still friends with some of the sort of lesser people that are involved, and we don't want to win it. We want to be seen to be competing, but we do not want the expense of having that.
It's always kind of been a kind of unspoken thing, that, hasn't it? And I mean, it's in popular culture. I mean, there's I don't know are you familiar with the episode of Father Ted, the sitcom, where they literally pick a rubbish song because they don't want to win the contest, because they keep winning it because it's too expensive to stage. And so you're basically saying that's the case, and they want the illusion of us competing, but they don't want to pick a smash hit that's gonna go all the way and win it because it's too expensive for.
Why do you think nobody? Why do you think nobody will touch it? Would Anthony Costa have touched that when Blue were at their height? No, he wouldn't. I know he went back with Blue when they were well and truly done. It's nobody. No. I would do it tomorrow, which is why I lose money going to Belarus. I don't make money, which shows you that it's all about the competition for me. It's not about, I don't. Anyway, so the fact of the matter is, I'm going to make a statement. I think, right, that we will no longer, within 6 years, if it doesn't change and someone goes in there and radically changes how they select it, we will be out
of the competition.
Yes, because the British public are already getting fed up with it. You stop anyone in the street and go Eurovision, and they'll go, no one votes for us. Well, have you seen what we sent last year? Who the fuck is going to vote for it? It didn't even get into the top 40 of the charts with all that exposure, because it is fucking shit. Forgive my French. Sorry.
So how would we come out of the competition? What are you saying? We would withdraw?
Like everything else, it's all about numbers, right? And I know for a fact the figures are going down and down and down. What do you expect? Figures. Yes, and that will be the catalyst or the excuse to pull it. What they'll do is they'll go, we've tried everything. Well, no, you haven't, because it's the same people every year picking the same songs by the same type of artist. And then you scratch your head thinking, why are they not voting for us? Now, if the song would have gone number one in the charts, I'd have gone, right, there's something fundamentally wrong here. But the song hasn't. And the year before that, it hasn't. It's very interesting, right? People slate me. When you think about, I did better than Flo Rida, and Flo Rida is a massive artist. Flo Rida didn't get as many votes as what I did. And they have, I didn't have jury votes to back me up. It was all televoting in my day. So I just think that, we did a lot of work back in those days to take it back to the common man. And I think in the last 10 years, it's just been snatched back to BBC corporate. It's so straight. Let's talk about sending a drag act, which I thought, great, that's a great idea. But it will be so watered down and filtered that you might as well not bother, because they won't be able to express themselves and be risque. They won't. It's just too safe. So fundamental flaw in it, and it needs a whole, we're teaming up with BMG. Well, no, you're not. That's just a front to let people think that you're doing something you're not. You're not. Because, that 2 weeks before the deadline, that song wasn't even picked because they can't be asked. They cannot be. But I mean, no disrespect to the guy, but let's send someone that is, looks, or I'm not being like, imagist, if you like, but come on, is that the best we've got?
Well, even I was speaking to Nikki French, obviously the past Eurovision entrant, a few weeks ago as well, and she was saying that the staging of it was poor. No disrespect to James, but just like just a couple of like polystyrene ornaments or whatever, and do you know what I mean? It's like there's no effort being put in on our parts, and would you say that's kind of fair?
That's absolutely true. Again, people won't know this either. During my time, I out of my own pocket, went to other countries on their radio station out of my own pocket. BBC didn't send me, out of my own pocket, because I wanted to do as best job as I could.
Yeah.
Simple, we could sit and talk here for hours. Everyone's got an opinion. The fact of the matter is, I do not mind losing. I don't, even in football, I don't mind losing, mate. But we're turning up there beaten before we even start. And I do a lot of these type of things every year for the Eurovision community. And I feel like a scratch record because no one else says it in the way that I say it. Being brutally honest. But I'm telling you right now, you can send Robbie Williams. We still won't do as well because it's all about the package, the song. We could send an unknown. We could send, someone you've never heard of. But if the song's brilliant,
yeah.
Let's be honest, no one had heard of that girl who dressed up looking like a chicken.
No
one had heard of her, but because she had the package and the song and the look and the staging, kabang.
And do you think it's about promotion in Europe as well? Because that's incredible what you've just said, that you out of your own pocket paid to do a bit of press and publicity in and around Europe in the run up to the competition in 2006.
Yeah, we went so from the beginning of April right up until sort of like before we set off for Greece. I was everywhere: Latvia, Poland, Estonia, all those Baltic, Denmark, Sweden. I remember once flying to Sweden just to do one radio station because they'd rather have me in the studio rather than do a phone. And that is not fucking cheap back then. And I did it because I wanted to do well, not because I wanted to go on I'm a Celebrity, because that didn't interest me, because I wanted to do well. Let me tell you something, right? When you're in and around the presence of Wogan, you realize that you're at a very, very high level. And like he said to me, you're not going to win this, don't you? I said, no, I know I'm not going to win it. And he said, don't be fazed by the fact that most of the nation are sat in their living room watching you. And I thought, Jesus, he's right. Wanting you to do well. So can you imagine that type of support? You think, God, I'm thinking when I'm stood behind that blackboard just before it starts, when I forget my lyrics for the first time ever in my career. And that's a true story, I'm telling you right now. And again, little things like milking the media. What people do not realize is that a week before I set off to Eurovision, I went into my house in Kilburn Road and found my dad dead and had to try and get him, revive him. The funeral was on the Friday, and on the Saturday, we flew out to Athens. And all the press people are going, if we stick this in the paper, this is going to be a great story. And did it? That's the first time you've heard it. No one ever heard it because I didn't want to do that sympathy vote, and I kept it all out. No one knows about that. So when they're all slating, Sampson, this, and I just think you haven't got a clue. Which is why, when you said to me, "Will you talk about Eurovision?" I do these things purely because people actually need to know the facts, because they get the wrong idea about what I am about, and it's about competition. Which is why, football has completely taken over my sort of life now, and music's become a second thing.